being a Dragula super nerd, whenever I first saw Monsters of Rock, this has been in my brain for years.
Greetings, creeps. We are back with our weekly Dragula Resurrections. This week, we are summoning the latest monster to get slashed, Jarvis Hammer.
Decide.
Welcome.
In the flesh
Hi.
this time.
in the ghostly flesh. Jarvis, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
These are the weirdest interviews that I do, I have to say, because I'm excited to talk to you, but I'm not excited for the reason that you're here, because I'm like, I would rather just watch you on the show and I'll talk to you, all of you, after that, you know? I'm like, no, can we keep everyone?
I agree.
I have a pitch for the Boulets. They're going to be like, absolutely not, Angel, but I think we should do like 3 warm-up episodes, right? Where no one goes home and we're just kind of finding the groove, getting into the rhythm, and then we start doing eliminations.
Yes, I'd love that. As little competition as possible, please. Okay. That's what I've learned about myself through this experience.
Yeah, and Drac and Swan would behead me for even suggesting that. They'd be like, this is what we think of that. Gone. Okay.
I think a red dot is forming on my forehead right now.
So the Monsters of Rock challenge, this is like notoriously like the intense challenge. It's the one where all the drama just fucking explodes. It's like it's been in a pressure cooker and then this just like unleashes it all. But they had another twist thrown in this time. They're like, we're going to cut somebody before the bands even get formed. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was a true shock because, of course, like, you know, I'm a Dragula super fan. We all know the drill. There's the floor show and then there's the band challenge, but the band challenge is kind of like the make or break moment. Yeah, that was not editing. That was really when they said, and you're gonna do this right now, we really did it right then. No cut, no reset, one take.
Man.
It was a total shock. Yeah.
You literally had to perform for your life just on the spot. What was like, what goes through your head when they're like, okay, this is it, you're going to do this right now, no preparation or anything? Like, what were you thinking?
Yeah, well, so we had all, you know, had to learn the song, but of course, like, thought it was for the band challenge. So what was going through my head was I had a full tilt panic attack. I really struggle with anxiety. And I was out of my meds that day. So it was very bad.
It's a great combination. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you handled it well. You guys, I mean, I couldn't tell that you're having a freaking panic attack on there. Like, what song, if this is like you're on the spot, do or die moment, you're performing for your life, what song would you have chosen for yourself if you got to choose it?
There is a song called Horror Movie by the Skyhooks, which has kind of an androgynous vocal, but a mask identifying vocalist. Being a drag king, that's primarily what I prefer to perform to, is masculine vocals. So I was kind of like already outside my comfort zone just with Jasmine Bean of it all. But yeah, horror movie is sort of a 70s glam rock apocryphal track, and has a lot of swagger and camp to it. I much would have preferred something like that.
I would like to see that performance still. If you could just like post that on your socials or something. I'm a big David Bowie fan, and I've always wanted to throw a David Bowie party where everyone has to come as a different Bowie. So you're invited to that if it ever happens. But I see your outfit in the back there and it's so cool.
Yep, airing him out after I wore him to the viewing party last night. This is like my air out or like current projects that I'm working on rack. So we've got some other stinky, sweaty costumes from the road, just like, you know, getting a little bit of air out. Yeah, I mean, again, being a Dragula super nerd, whenever I first saw Monsters of Rock, this has been in my brain for years. I was like, I want to do a tribute to Bowie's collaboration with Kansai Yamamoto, the late great Japanese designer. But I want to make it, I don't want to do a straight up cosplay. And I also kind of want to meet in the middle of the Dragula world with the red and black and That was kind of my idea, was like, what if Ziggy Stardust were a satanic glam metal album? Maybe he would look like this in this sort of like inverse world. The blue hair instead of the red, kind of the swapping. Jonathan Rhys Meyers also wore a blue version of the Ziggy Stardust wig in Velvet Goldmine, so that was another reference. But never in a million years would I have made the connection to Dr. Seuss. But what has been seen can't be unseen, I suppose.
Oh, no. So now, hearing these critiques, is there anything that you would change if you could go back and just make tweaks to the outfit? What would you do differently?
Yeah, I think I would, stay inside the Dragula box of black hair, make it bigger, black boots, maybe throw on some spikes and studs and all that jazz. Yeah.
So you totally scrap the Ziggy thing and save that for something else. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like and the Boulets themselves admitted it that they would wear this. So it is exactly what I dreamed of. I designed it. A fabulous designer fabricator in Texas named Aaron Torres made it. It's a beautiful piece of work, and I still stand by it. But I understand what they were saying about some of the styling.
Right. That's almost like more frustrating though, right?
Yeah.
When they're like, this is amazing. We love it. We would wear it. Like, that's the highest form of compliment. For the Boulets to say that they would wear it themselves is like huge. They're like, but not for this necessarily. So it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Man, well, I love it. I would just wear it around to the store because you have it. And I'm like, just do errands in it. It's too cool.
It is very squeaky. I'll say that.
Like how squeaky, like,
yeah,
like, okay.
A little awkward. Yeah, I mean, now that I think about it, I was like, I don't think I've ever actually seen Bowie perform in that costume. It may have just been for that photo sequence of him being like that. So that maybe was a bit of like foreshadowing that I should have thought of when I had like getting this costume made. I can move in it, but just not like do or die on the moment lip sync.
Right. And I was thinking that during the performance too. I was like, oh fuck, like JK's over here doing death drops and you've got this elaborate thing where I'm like, I don't know how much you can move in that outfit,
Yeah, I mean, I can't do death drops anyway. If I tried, I'd just straight up die. So I kind of knew it was over for me.
I can't do death drops either, but I just blame it on my outfit. People are like, you're in sweats. And I'm like, it's like really hindering the movement. I don't know what to tell you. Gosh, I would love to do a death drop for you guys if I just was wearing the right outfit. So you didn't get to do a traditional extermination, but maybe this extermination was actually worse for you because all of those elements and the anxiety of it all. But would you rather have to do like this kind of lip sync for your life kind of thing, or let rats crawl on you and piss on you? Like, what would you choose of the two?
I think I would rather have been with the rats. As frustrating as it would be to have them poop in one of my nice expensive wigs, my heart goes out to Anna and Zatanna. I think Orc was just covered in saran wrap, so they were, nice and preserved. But yeah, I mean that's what I signed up for. I think I don't know if the Boulets had planned this at all, but it turns out my biggest fear was doing bad at art. So going into a lip sync unprepared on a TV show that can be viewed internationally was hell for me. So maybe that was the perfect representation for my own psyche.
Yeah. Would you choose bungee jumping over the lip syncing?
No. Okay. Bungee jumping, well, like kind of like I said, I think I had a talking head in that episode where I said like I'd do it but not at night, like
right, yeah,
in total darkness. God, and when I watched Zatanna swing, I was just terrified. They look so close to the rocks.
I think that all the time. It always makes me nervous. I'm like, the jump is fine, not my first choice, but when it's the swinging after, because I'm like, what if you skim a rock? What if you like smack up onto the bridge? There's just all these like variables, and I don't like unknown variables. I think maybe we have that in common. Not a fan of unknown variables. What do you think would be like the absolute worst extermination for you? Like, is it heights? Is it rats? Is it performing when you're not prepared to do this performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think the worst did happen to me, but yeah, I think one of the my main fears was the just like jumping out of a plane, like from
Ugh.
season 3 with Violencia and Maxie. Like, yeah, I my feet get this weird tingly sensation whenever I walk up to a cliff face or like a floor to ceiling window
Mhm.
wall, and you can just like look down. Like, yeah, I get actual sensations in my body that are bad when I get close to height.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, that would have been really bad for me too.
You're making me anxious just talking about it. I also not a super fan of heights. If you could create an extermination challenge for the remaining competitors to go through, what would you choose? What would you
Oh,
craft for them? Something diabolical.
oh, well, this would have just been a fun gift for me, but like stay the night in like a haunted hotel,
Mm.
like the Cecil Hotel or
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. I kind of thought that that's what haunted hotel was gonna be,
Hmm.
honestly. And then maybe throw in some like scare actors and just
Yeah.
rats, maggots, I don't know, cockroaches, just like, little like timed happenings that go on
Yeah.
throughout the night to make sure you don't sleep and then have to come right to set the next day
Oh my God. And then get ready in
and
full
perform.
drag, right? That's cruel. I was thinking, I was like, well, haunted hotel, I think for you weirdos, that's just a vacation. But if they're
Yes.
throwing like you're trying to sleep and they're throwing cockroaches on your face or something, absolutely not.
Yeah, for some people, I don't know. I lived in Florida for a long time, so cockroaches don't bother me, but bugs really bother some other people, as we've seen. So,
I've done some of the most embarrassing moments of my entire life involve bugs because I just don't have a control to my reaction. And sometimes it's a public reaction. I'm like, I have just humiliated myself, but I just need to get away from the bug. So,
yeah.
meanwhile, you would just be petting the cockroaches as I'm running Scooby Doo style, screaming like a cartoon character. So, the Boulets have resurrected monsters before. Saint was the second competitor set home in season 3, came back to win the whole fucking thing. So, I mean, it's not
Mhm.
out of the question. Would you be up for returning for any kind of Dragula thing?
Speaking of bugs, I'm fending off a fly right now. I guess I think that they can smell the body is still warm. To answer your question, I suppose never say never.
Okay. I
Like
trust
that.
nothing on this season. Like after that first episode, or after the second episode, actually, when JK walks back in, I'm like, I don't trust anything now on this season. Like, I don't
Yeah.
believe anything until we get to the very last episode.
Mhm.
I'm like, maybe you'll all be back, and then we have to do it all over again before we get to the last one. Who do you think is the fiercest competitor this season?
Throb Zombie.
I thought you might say
I am perhaps a bit biased. Throb and I have actually been friends for years and have
Mhm.
worked together from coast to coast practically, and we've grown quite close in that time. So it was very special for me to get to do this show with him. But I think that Throb, my just based on objective empirical evidence, Throb is the full package. Like he comes from burlesque, from drag. He's been doing ballet since he was a child. He is a masterful performer, concept creator, tells a story through look and movement like nobody else. Um, my money's been on Throb since day one, quite frankly. Like, as soon as I knew he was there, it was just kind of like, okay, yes, this is all you, buddy. I'll just try to have the ride I can have while I'm here.
That's awesome. What is it like existing as a drag king in this kind of space? Do you find it's mostly welcoming? I feel like it's probably more welcoming now than it was before, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I started in 2019. I started in part because locally here in Atlanta, we had kings and things like Mystery Meat, who had really done a lot of the initial, glass ceiling cracking for people like me and just making it an actual like avenue that I could walk down. But no, it's tough. I mean, this, like so many other industries, is an industry that is largely governed by cis men. And so with that, you get a lot of the same trappings of misogyny, transphobia, discrimination, all of the above. So it's not an easy journey. I'm just glad that Dragula is open to us and is, you know, in this season kind of showing two very different kinds of drag kings. And I mean, Throb also like doesn't just do masculine personas. They do all kinds of gender expressions in their drag. Yeah.
Amazing. We love to see it. Or this is a shitty question. This is a drama question for you. Who do you think
okay.
will be the next to go?
Gosh. I think Blackberry is, well, just because, you know, she was there in the bottom with me and JK. Just if we're talking track records, you know, she's been kind of a wild card. Like, we're not really sure, because you know, she in the filth challenge, I thought like she looked exactly like a Garbage Pail Kid. But was it like the filthiest compared to some of the rest of us on the runway who were dealing in feces and semen and what have you?
Just a normal day at work. Okay.
Yeah, so I think for her it might be kind of a question of like, yeah, like, are you gonna go whole hog on this next Monsters of Rock challenge and just really dirty it up? And I will be texting her after this to let her know.
Good call. All right. I'm very excited to see these performances. So before we go, tell us where we can find you. What do you have coming up? Plug all the things.
Well, you can find me on Instagram at jarvis.hammer. I will be continuing my weekly recap show, the Jules and Jarvis recap show of the BOULET Brothers Dragula, even though Jarvis is off of it now, where you can see me in my human form and the ghost that sometimes occupies my body, because that's the only way we can be seen together is on camera. I let him possess my body so that I could go shoot the show. It would have been a little bit tricky if he just went it alone. Like,
that's very
nobody
kind
else
of
could
you.
see him but the camera guys. Yeah. So yeah, you can catch the Jules and Jarvis recap show on Instagram at jarvis.hammer. TikTok is just Jarvis Hammer. And coming up, I'll be hitting the road next week with Hard Candy events. So I've got 3 dates in Louisville, Kansas City, and Richmond, and hopefully more beyond.
All right.
Yeah.